Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. A quick info before we begin. Today's video has two stories and both of them have updates. Now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's from user throwaway6456459. I'm 30 male and girlfriend doesn't pull her weight and putting a huge strain on the relationship. My girlfriend and I have been together for 8 years and living together for 3, and I'm at the point where I'm thinking of ending it. The first 5 years we were together were great, then we moved in together 3 years ago and things have just gone downhill ever since. So here's the situation. I work 42 hours a week, she works 26 hours on average a week, can sometimes be 20 and sometimes 30, and she's part-time, only works during the day. Because of the disparity in income, I pay most of the bills. I pay 4/5 and she pays 1/5, and I'm paying for her driving lessons. I don't mind any of this as I earn quite a bit more than she does. My concern here is the sharing of responsibilities in the chores and my expectations that she should do more of the chores because she has more free time. But she often spends most of her non-working life in bed. She'll be out of bed maybe an hour or two a day, and that's no exaggeration. She often boasts about it to her friends who actually encourage her about it and say how they wish they could do the same. We live in a 3-bedroom house and my responsibilities are the bathroom, 2 bedrooms, stairs, hallway and landing. Her responsibilities are cleaning the kitchen, living room, dining room, which is empty so it just needs vacuuming, and the main bedroom. She also does the cooking, but more on that in a minute. And then my other responsibility is having to drive her to and from work 3 to 4 times a week, which is often 40 minutes round trip. I thought this sharing of responsibilities was fair, and I do mine without fail at least once or twice a week. However, we eat homemade cooked meals at most twice a week. It's always takeaway otherwise. The kitchen hasn't been cleaned in 4 weeks since I last did it. The main bedroom hasn't been cleaned in about 2 weeks since I last did it. The living room and dining room haven't been cleaned in 2 months since she last did it. My girlfriend just refuses to clean and only does it at the point where it reaches an argument. I've tried talking to her like an adult, but she often goes silent, starts shouting, gets upset, and then just ignores me. I've tried sitting down with her with a rule of no blaming, no shouting, no sarcasm, and to get our grievances off of our chests that seemed to go really well at the time, except nothing really came of it. Then 6 months ago, this really started to affect me quite badly. We both have skin issues that cause more dust and grime than people without it, so we need to keep on top of it. I hit a breaking point the first time when I had to spend 4 hours cleaning the main bedroom, filling up the vacuum 3 times, picking 3 50-liter bin bags of dirty clothes off the floor, all covered in skin dust, and removing many plates with moldy food on them off the side tables and under the bed. This was the first strike as I was also dealing with the kitchen at the same time, which also had used plates on every surface and a full sink. This, as you can imagine, brought about quite a bit of tension as she already knew I was getting stressed about the lack of chores she was doing. The living room is just covered in used plates and rubbish. Then this happened a couple more times in the remaining 6 months with my naivety of thinking she would improve. It has not. The last time was a couple of weeks ago when the main bedroom was in the same state as every other time. I spent another 4 hours cleaning the bedroom. I told her this was the last chance, but I've said that every other time I've had to do this. I acknowledge that during the last few weeks, holidays, we've spent a lot of time out of the house visiting family and friends, but the dust is building back up. There are clothes all over the floor and the dirty plates are piling up again. I can't cope with this anymore. A few other points that might be worth noting as to the current state of our relationship are that we've not had sex in 8 months. She'll agree to oral every now and then, but there's always an excuse and she won't let me touch her. We've slept in our bed together for maybe 5 or 6 nights in the past 6 months because she makes me feel unwelcome. She's usually wide awake at night and I have to be up early for work and she just won't let me sleep. Now there's a pile of rubbish on my side table and crap all over my side of the bed, so I feel very unwelcome in my own bed. I just don't know what to do anymore. She says that she loves me, and I do love her. I've already been to the doctor for anxiety and depression, which has only gotten worse from this situation. I was already quite the hermit, and I've made an effort to go out of the house with her more as part of our more adults talk, despite me quite often getting panic attacks in crowded areas. I know I'm not the easiest person to be with either, but I'm trying to make the effort for her. Please, any advice is welcome. If I'm doing something wrong, please tell me. I'm a bit of an emotional wreck right now, so if you need something clarified or if I've accidentally contradicted myself, I will attempt to make it more clear. Well, OP, in my very personal opinion, what I think you are doing wrong is that you're staying in this relationship. And in all fairness, if the roles were reversed, in which case OP's girlfriend would be the one doing everything that OP is doing, I would suggest the same thing to her. She would need to end the relationship. Now, at the beginning of the post, I did consider, well, maybe she's depressed and that's why she's not doing anything. But then when OP told us that she's boasting about being in bed and she's not even cleaning up and she's, putting all this crap all over the house and refusing to do anything about it, yeah, I don't know if this is depression. It doesn't sound like it, so I would just be done with this relationship. And if you own the house, you tell her she needs to move out. Or if you lease together, you find a way to break the lease or go find another place. This is mostly a one-sided relationship, OP, and I highly doubt that she loves you the way she says she does. You've spoken to her in many different ways with many different attitudes and speeches, and never once has she said that she's going through any kind of issue. So at this point, with this information, it seems to me like she's using you. So yeah, OP, like I said in the beginning, the only thing I think you're doing wrong is that you're still trying to make this relationship work. Sure, it's been 8 years, but that's the sunken cost fallacy. This is not healthy for you, it's literally not healthy for you, and it is not going to get better. And what do you guys think about this situation? What kind of advice would you give OP? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. BJ247 says, the only thing you're doing wrong is living with over 100 pounds of dead weight. Dump that mother effer already. It's not unreasonable for her to do more of the chores since you're paying more of the bills. If this woman is affecting your health the way you've described and none of the efforts you've made have resolved the issues, then it's time to let her go. Tell her you can't do it anymore. Either she moves out or you will. It's obvious that the relationship isn't working. Give her a month to leave. I'd say don't have sex with her, but it seems that she's not doing that anyway. Some people will say that she's depressed, but if she can boast to her friends about lying around all day, it sounds more likely that she's self-indulgent and lazy. I'd say cut your losses, and by the way, don't be surprised if she starts trying to have panic sex when you tell her it's over. It's just temporary and it won't last. If she tells you that she's depressed and will see a doctor, don't buy that either. Let her seek treatment and follow through consistently before you even think of believing her. And whatever you do, please don't knock her up. Adding a baby to the mix will totally send your life down the crapper. By the way, love doesn't conquer all. I'm a great believer in the saying, if a person shows you who they are, believe them. She's shown you who she is, a rather lazy, selfish, inconsiderate, slovenly person. You only have yourself to blame if you don't believe her. You can cross-check the subreddit dead bedrooms on the issues with lack of sex. There are many other people stuck in the same situation. And OP responds, thank you. It's hard to hear the brutal truth, but that's why I came to Reddit. Friends and family tiptoe around it and it doesn't help. Vendetta5885 says, well, she certainly seems like she is taking advantage of you. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but know this, you cannot change people. You have seen this. Most people will try to accommodate the change for a short while, but they always revert back to their natural ways. I don't think this will get better, and I don't think you do either. From your description of your girlfriend, she is a disgusting slob that barely works and doesn't clean and leeches off of you financially. You sound like a clean guy. Can you live with someone that is fine with living in filth? Did you notice these disgusting habits the 5 years before you started dating? After reading this, I have to ask, what are you getting out of this relationship? It sounds like you inherited a dependent. She barely works, she doesn't clean, she is a financial strain on you, you guys aren't intimate, and she leaves crap everywhere. She sounds more like a daughter than a live-in girlfriend. And OP responds, I will admit I can be messy, but I'm not dirty. I do leave stuff around, but I clean once or twice a week, so if something is there, it's not there long. She will leave things for months. When we were dating, I never actually saw her bedroom. We were at my house the majority of the time, so oddly enough, I've never seen her old bedroom. She was living with her parents before we moved in together, so I can honestly say I never saw these habits before, probably because it was hidden from me. My problem is that I love her. Losing her is something that destroys any rationality I have about it. I've given her many last chances because I hate to see her sad. Maybe that means I'm a sucker and easy to manipulate, but at least if I can recognize that, I can try and get past it. Everyone in these comments so far that I've read have had the same response, and now it's painfully obvious to me what I need to do. It's always been in the back of my mind with the naivety that she could change. And Arcades says, what do you get out of this relationship? No sex, little to no financial support, little to no support around the house, interrupted sleep, and you get to be her chauffeur? You have been together since you were 22 and she was 17. Perhaps this relationship has simply run its course. You grew up and she never did. And OP responds, now that you say it, I don't know what I get from this relationship. First thing in my mind was love. She says she loves me, but the more I read these responses and think about it, she hasn't shown it for a very long time. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP needs to leave this relationship, and I have to say I was surprised that that first commenter said a lot of the things I did, so maybe I've been reading too many Reddit stories. In any case, it seems that the community got to OP and he's got an idea of what he has to do. So let's move on with the update to see how this story ends. But of course, before that, here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. I thought through the advice many of you gave, and I really appreciate everyone's input and never expected it to get as much attention as it did. It was extremely difficult, but I did break up with my now ex-girlfriend. I'm sorry, but I won't go into all the details, but threats and police were involved, not me. Some commenters may not be surprised about this, but it deeply shocked me as I never thought she was capable of something so extreme. The whole ordeal was very traumatizing, but I feel like I still did the right thing and have no regrets. I just wish it hadn't escalated to the point it got to, but I did solidify my view that I needed to get out of this relationship. Some commenters asked whether she was depressed. I did bring this up with her and she denied it every time, but her behavior tonight makes me believe she's got issues but doesn't realize it. I've spoken with her sister about some of these concerns and I can only hope she allows people to give her the help she needs. I'm deeply saddened it went the way it did, but everyone was correct that I needed to get out of this relationship. I can only hope that she finds someone more suited to her so she can be happy again. I apologize for not going deep into what happened. I'm still reeling from it and really just wanted to get past it. I'm going to focus on myself and try to continue with my life. Thanks for all of the comments and support. They were the wake-up call I think I needed. I became very naive that this could have been fixed. I even went to the doctor for depression and anxiety, so she knew how badly it was getting to me, and still nothing changed. I needed to stop deluding myself into thinking one more chance would work. If anything, my own health suffered both mentally and physically, and that should have been the immediate red flag. I can't thank people here enough because I needed the harsh truth. She's had several warnings of breaking up over the past few months, but because there were so many, I feel she may have just seen them as empty threats of breaking up. It's just a vicious cycle. So again, thank you. I love Reddit for its brutal honesty. Before I posted this, she was saying how she was going to clean on her next day off. I thought maybe she's finally changing. Then I realized she's done this every time and I've fallen for it every time because she'll do it once and then won't do it again until another argument. Posting here has been an eye-opener and I thank everyone for giving me honest responses. Wow, OP, I'm sorry it got to the point that somebody needed to call the police. I hope nothing serious happened and whatever that she needs to do to work through her problems, that she gets the help that she needs. But again, it's a good thing that you got out of that relationship because it was also affecting your health. So OP, good for you for ending the relationship. It must have been a hard thing to do after 8 years, but it's a good thing that you've done it. So here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. Now, let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also adds an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice, and it's by user Healthy Schedule. Should I disclose to my fiancé that I dated our landlord for a hot second? My fiancé, 30 male, and I, 31 female, just found an awesome little apartment that is perfect for us. I came to look at the place once, then my fiancé went to take a look, we both liked it, and so we just handed a deposit. What I have not disclosed yet is that the new landlord was an old Tinder match from 2 years ago, and we had lame sex twice before we moved on with our lives. However, we still have each other on social media, and we are very adult about it, with no hard feelings and no weirdness. I am very happy and close to my fiancé. I mean, we're marrying soon, and I am not afraid to tell him. I just kind of didn't have a chance to tell him. And it's not something I just want to throw in there like, by the way, I banged that guy a couple of times. I am not ashamed about it either. It's just kind of crappy timing, seeing as we already handed in the deposit, and I just don't know if it was already a faux pas not to tell him from the start. Should I let it go or should I get on with it? Is this information I should disclose as soon as possible? Thanks for listening. Well, OP, in my personal opinion, yes, you should tell your fiancé. It doesn't matter if you're very adult about it or you don't have weird feelings. That doesn't really matter. Imagine if, for some stupid reason, the landlord decides to make an offhand comment about how he and you had a really nice night. Because maybe he didn't think it was lame sex. Doesn't matter. That definitely would not sit well with your fiancé, at least if it's a surprise, right? So yeah, just tell him. I mean, I wouldn't use the word bang. I wouldn't just say, hey, by the way, I banged our landlord a couple of times. No, I would say something like, hey, just so you're aware with it and there's full disclosure, 2 years ago I was on Tinder, I matched with our current landlord. I should have told you before, I'm sorry, it just escaped me, but there's nothing going on and there never will be anything going on. Also, if he's not really your friend, do you need to have him in social media? I mean, this is my personal preference. I try to keep my social media as lean as possible. So yeah, just wondering. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Heisenbread77 says, I would tell your man about it. I would also get rid of the ex on social media, not just because it might bother your future husband or give the ex an opportunity to cause issues, but because you don't need your landlord knowing your business. Feral Cricket says, tell him and apologize for not being honest initially. Don't get into the habit of keeping secrets and making decisions for him. You can see the results of that kind of thinking now. Something that would have been relatively minor now has the potential to be a thing because you withheld information and let him make a major decision without all the facts. Bedtime Shine says, I'd be pissed that you didn't tell me before I signed the lease and taking the choice out of my hands. It would give me doubts about our future because I've seen you are capable of secrets and making choices for me. Didn't have time? Please. And if you tried to play it off like the sex sucked, I'd think that's more BS because you went back for seconds. Weasel Panties says, I'd have mentioned it right away, but I understand the whole the moment is past feeling. I'd still tell him now. I wasn't sure whether I should mention it, but I had a couple of Tinder dates with that guy. I'm sure it won't be awkward, we've kept in touch, and he's not a weirdo or anything. We just didn't really connect. Additional information from OP's comments. By the way, I have to deal with this ex all the time. She's an a-hole. She's also the mother of my future stepchild. Grow up, people. I decided to tell him not because of the advice coming from deeply insecure Redditors, but because I'm ruminating on it, which means I should tell him. It's not essential information, but we are entering a business relationship and all cards should be on the table. Also, my fiancé is semi-famous in our hometown and I have to deal with bitches throwing themselves at him all the time. He doesn't tell me all of the time because it's creating issues where there aren't. Thanks for the comments. Alright, well, the community came to OP with many different angles, from being upset to being okay with it to not really caring. But apparently there were a lot of people telling OP that she sucked, hence the comment. Regardless, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. I told my fiancé because, yes, I should have told him from the start. The world didn't end. I explained why I didn't disclose it in the beginning. Like I said, it's not because I was ashamed or hiding something. The thing went down fast and inconvenient as my significant other and I are very busy people, and I was not about to tell him via text, oh, by the way, I banged the dude. I just didn't get a good chance to tell him. We did not see the place together. First, I went to see the apartment, then my significant other went by himself. Time constraints. Anyway, he wasn't pissed at all because he's a grown-up, secure person. I am also a grown-up, secure person. The landlord is also a grown-up, secure person. My significant other knows nothing dodgy is going on. It's simply not how we roll. My advice to people in this sub is to work on yourselves. I saw a lot of jumping to conclusions and name-calling. Some of you people shouldn't be giving advice at all. Hope some of y'all can heal your traumas, and I wish you all could have such a loving and supportive and grown-up relationship as I have. Peace. Alright OP, well nothing big happened and your relationship is intact and all is good. Awesome. Just one point of contention. Be careful with the hypocrisy. I mean, you say that a lot of people are jumping to conclusions and you jump to conclusions on the next sentence. In any case OP, thank you for sharing and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.